Hi everyone. Welcome back to those who are returning, and for those who are new here, thanks for joining me in my art corner. My name is Kathy. Today, we'll be working on tutorial part 7. Ink and watercolor painting of bunnies and blooms. Images from the workbook by Sarah Simon, Flowers, Feathers, and Animal Friends. I will add step-by-step instructions for each part to the screen, so you can refer to them as you paint. You will need brushes, round number 1 and 4, waterproof ink, a Sharpie ultrafine point, or another waterproof pen you can use, such as the Micro Pen Fineliner ink pens. You can get them on Amazon, and smooth watercolor paper. You will also need a tissue or paper towel to blot the paper, add highlights, and remove too much water or color from your brush or paper, as well as a container of clear water. I have already inked in the flowers. I have left the bunnies in pencil. I will demonstrate how to ink in the fur to the bunnies, which will add dimension and realism to them. You can download the Ink Hatching Techniques handout from my Dropbox. This is going to be a looser style watercolor painting, and the ink marks are more sparse on the flowers. Okay, I'll get started on the bunnies. I have to put on my gloves so I don't smear the pencil with my hands. Oh, and make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video for the pro tip. You can see that I create heavier fur at the joints. So, imagine the joints of the animal elbows, knees, shoulders, and hips as places where the skin compresses and bunches up. This creates areas of denser fur. Use more ink strokes and slightly thicker lines to emphasize these areas, giving the fur a more natural look. Fur marks should go in opposite directions at joints. Think of how fur bends when an animal moves. At the joints, the fur flows in opposite directions, meeting at a natural breakpoint. To show this, draw strokes that angle away from the joint, rather than all in the same direction. This prevents the fur from looking too uniform or flat. The ink strokes should follow body contours. Imagine wrapping a ribbon around the animal's body. How would it curve over the shape? The ink strokes should mimic this flow to enhance the form. This helps define the animal's muscle structure and makes the fur feel more realistic and three-dimensional. If you are more of a visual learner, here's a good exercise for you. Sketch a simple example. Draw a curved limb with arrows showing fur direction. Mark joints with heavier strokes. Use flowing lines to emphasize the contours. Give it a try and let me know how it worked for you. If you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps out my channel so much. And leave me a comment. Let me know if you have questions or what you are interested in learning more about. Give me some ideas. Alright. That's all the ink I'm going to add to the bunnies. Let's move on to adding watercolor to the flowers. Like I said, this will be a looser watercolor painting. Don't worry too much about staying in the lines. Here is the suggested color palette. Warm buff, alizarin crimson, lemon yellow, chocolate brown, oxide of chromium, gray, yellow ochre, blush, burnt, sienna, ivory black. I will not be using these exact colors, I will be using the closest colors that I have in my color water palette. You can follow the color palette, or you can use other colors that pleases you. Number 1. Begin at the cherry blossoms branch on the bottom right of the design. Wash the top flower in clear water. This is a loose and quick wash that will cover all the flower petals and the center of the flower. Add wet dabs of blush to the center. To increase saturation to the flower center, add wet alizarin, crimson, and yellow ochre. Steps for the remaining flowers. Remember to use your tissue to soak up excess puddles of color on your paper, so you don't get blooms. You can always go back and add more color once it's dry. Next is number 2. For the daffodils, use your round 1 to dry brush, lemon yellow on the petals of each flower. Wash the center petals, known as the cups of the daffodils, in yellow ochre. Wash the stems in chocolate brown and oxide of chromium. Now, add a thin wet dry wash of burnt sienna to the inside of the daffodils cup. Three. Wash the branches in alternating colors of chocolate brown and oxide of chromium. I decided to intensify the color to the daffodils by adding some more lemon yellow, yellow ochre to the petals, and then more burnt sienna to the daffodils' cups. Okay, I like that much better. Moving on to the bunnies. 4. Wash the bottom bunny in gray, reserve or leave dry, the bunny's right ear opening, the bunny's chest, tail, and nose, and the white around the bunny's eye. Add clear water to a damp brush and sweep the gray wash too. Create points of light near the right cheek and right foreleg. You can also use your tissue to dab in highlights. Wash blush on the nose and in the ears. Five. For the right bunny, use your number 1 round or number 4. Depending on how large you want the spots, add a coat of the washed ivory black spots around the bunny's fur. Wash the inside of the bunny's ear and tip of its nose in blush. Six. With the left bunny, use a wash of warm buff and then add wet in wet blush and burnt sienna to highlight and deepen, leaving the tail dry in reserve. Wash the hind leg paw pads in blush. Add wet on dry. Brush marks along the bunny's fur in burnt sienna, and make small lines to indicate fur. Alright, the bunnies are finished. I think they came out very cute. Tell me what you think. Now, I didn't like how these flowers are looking, so I'm going to add more color and scrub out the hard edges. In my last video, there is information in the pro tip about how to soften the hard edges and blending colors. I'll put that video on the screen so you can take a look at it. Now for the pro tip. Use a magic eraser or soft eraser. If an edge is too harsh and has dried, a dampened piece of a magic eraser or a soft kneaded eraser can gently lift some pigment to soften the transition. Join me for the next video as we bring our feline friends to life this time. We're adding soft, textured cat fur with fine details and layering it with watercolor magic. Watch the transformation unfold and pick up tips to enhance your own artwork. Don't miss it. See you there. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Have a great day and happy painting.